Alright, now that the noise out of the way, hey everybody, my name's Kevin Brenner. I'll be your DCS instructor, and I am just to give you some context, I'm a senior at Attachment 910, and I've been pretty involved in the DCS community for a long time now. The DCS is a digital combat simulator. It's a great mil sim for as close to realism modeling for certain F-16s, A-10s, and other things. Sorry, those jets go off behind me. It's the most realistic simulator that's on the commercial market for the F-16 Block 50 Viper. So Block 50 Viper, no map here. The A-10C Tank Killer 2, and the F-15C. These are all U.S. Air Force different platforms, and I will be kind of getting you introduced to them. A little entry-level kind of video, and hopefully you'll get some use out of it, learn how to start the airplane. So without further ado, make sure you're taking notes. I have a little notepad sometimes by me too for stuff like this, but I'm going to be kind of doing it on the fly. So here we go. So probably the F-16 is a full fidelity model, which means I can click these buttons here, flip these switches here. That's the ejection seat, don't do that. And so this is probably going to be the easiest full fidelity. Remember, click, full fidelity equals click with the mouse model here. So let's go ahead and get started. Throttle is out of idle and it's off. Make sure it's idle cutoff there for those who want to know that. So there's no fuel being injected into the engine at all. Next, we're going to go ahead and go our battery switch to battery. You're going to hear it go brrrr. That just means it's powering it. We don't have an APU, so we're going to have to go ahead and use the jet fuel starter, which is right here. I'm using track IR, so I can do the zoom thing that you will not have in VR. But the jet fuel starter, indicated by here, is right here. You go, start 2. You're going to hear it come up, and we're going to be looking over here to the right. We want to put this in the idle detent when this reaches 20. So make sure you have your idle switch, which is right here for me. And we're going to go, boom. It's in the idle, means you can move it. Let's go over the hump. Now we're looking at our ITT, turbine inlet temperature. It's going to go all the way up here to about 950 degrees Celsius, and then it'll cut back down. We do not want to overheat the engine, which will be right about here, about 100. So for under 950, we are good. That's a good start. Now that we're in idle, brakes on. And we're going to go ahead and move this to main power. So now all of our electrical systems are powered. So let's go ahead and turn them on. So this is our avionics power panel. We're going to turn on our MMC, our STSDA, our MFD, UFC, our map, which again isn't employed, but we'll put it there anyways. Our GPS, our data link. We're going to go ahead and move our MIDS, MDS switch to on, and our INS switch to norm align. We'll move it to nav later. So for now, we're watching our stuff fly around. I'll turn on the HUD right quick with stability up. We're going to watch our HUD spin around. Basically, this is using the GPS signal to align our aircraft and basically situate our INS to be our inertial navigation system to be as accurate as possible. So we're going to go hit that line. While waiting there for the line, we're going to go ahead and do some stuff. Normally in an F-16, you run a bit test, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to leave these switches alone. The first switch we're going to hit is this master IFF switch to norm. You don't have to hit anything else. There go those F-16s. They're probably having a good day. So with that, we're going to go ahead and continue our panel. We're going to leave them on like that. We're going to go up here. Battery switch, make sure it's on main power. Comms coming on, our main radio. We're going to hit our threat warning on. We're going to go MDOS, jammer, radar, all these, standby. And we're going to turn our heads mounting queuing system to on. Lights, taxi, cat, we're going to be in storage 3 today. You leave these alone, master, make sure it's off. All right, come up to the HUD, make sure that sim is all the way up. This gives the full brightness on here, and you'll leave all this alone. Coming down here, this is our speed indicator, speed on the left, altitude on the right. And we're gonna go ahead and turn our right hardpoint on, our FCR on, and our radar altimeter on. Gonna come all the way down here, make sure your oxygen is on. Come check up real quick. RDY means we can go ahead and do this. Norm to nav. Do not move it from norm to nav unless there's an RDY there, and it'll go away after. So now that we have a full jet, we're gonna go ahead and look at our electrical panel. Oh, we have an electrical system warning. We have a seat not armed warning. So the F-16, like I said, is a jet fuel start airplane, which means that our electrical system right here, we'll need to run a bid test before. We didn't run the bid test, so it's basically saying, hey, you didn't run a bid test. So we're gonna go ahead and hit reset. Oh, and it's gone. Seat not armed means that this switch isn't down. So look at gone. Basically, you're gonna arm your seat, look above you. If there's anything above you, don't arm the seat. Okay, That's good. We're gonna have our power and idle, our brakes are on. If you put your brakes off and you look outside the airplane, it may start to move. It is not that heavy of an airplane. It may start to move. So let's go ahead and get started taxiing. First of all, I'm gonna go release the brakes. Don't give any gas to your airplane until you turn your nose wheel steering on. Let's go ahead and start now. A little bit of power to get over the inertial hump and then bring it back down. That's all the power you need to taxi an F-16. This nose wheel steering gives us just a 30 to turn. For example, if I didn't have nose wheel steering, look at rudder, no turn. Nose wheel steering equals turn. AR, nose wheel steering equals turn on the ground. So let's go ahead and walk over some of the systems in the F-16. The F-16 has two multifunction displays. In a Block 52 and up, it'll have a map right here. This is a Block 50 Viper, which means we only have two. So on the right, we're gonna have our HSD, or horizontal situational display. Over on the left side, we have our fire control radar, which basically means that shoot radar we're looking at. We can go to our targeting pod, which we don't have on the airplane, or we can go to our stores management system, which tells us what we have on the airplane. We have two 370-gallon tanks right here. We have two racks of BDUs right there, and we have two training missiles indicated by the blue coating on it. Blue is training, gray is live. So if you're under 50 knots, your speed will not display. So once I'll show you on takeoff once we get an airspeed alive rating. So we have 48 knots rating on the speed, but really we're not moving at 48 knots. So for turns, brakes. The F-16 will roll over, so you need to go at minimum speeds around corners. Alright, so for takeoff, we don't have any flaps. We don't have any takeoff trim. All we're going to add is brakes on. We're going to run up our RPM to 80, and once that crosses 80, we're going to go brakes off, full power, indicated by this fuel flow going all the way up. You'll hear it kicking. So, I'm going to go ahead and check. We have somebody in the pattern, but they're not on final. So, brakes, remember, nice, easy right turn. Get lined up with the runway. And once we're lined up, we're going to hit the brakes, nose wheel steering off. You do not want to flip over. So brakes on, run up the power to mill, cross 80, brakes off, full power. Full power, over the hump, over the hump. And as you can see, we're veering off to the left here because of some wind. I'm going to go ahead and correct the right rudder. And the rotate speed for this airplane is 150 knots. 150 knots, pull all back on the stick, and you want to be wheels up by 200. Gear up. And we're airborne. The max climb for this airplane is 350 knots, so go ahead and tilt your nose up, 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 up. We're still in burner, by the way. So you're gonna probably want to pull it out of burner pretty quick. Remember, detent equals burner. This is mill power right here. Once it goes over the detent, you're in burner. Mill power, and go ahead and roll out. Yeah, that is the F-16 takeoff procedure. Next, we're gonna go ahead and cover the landing procedure. Hey everybody, it's Kenneth Burner again. We're gonna go ahead and walk over the landing procedure. So here we are coming up on final for 3-1 at Visani. The important things, altitudes you're going to want to write down right now are Angels, 1.5 AGL, 1.5 AGL, so 1,500 feet. So 1,500 feet, 375 knots. I'm a bit fast here. You're going to want to go fly right over the middle of the runway, and this is a Case 1 recovery. So there's our airbase down there. That's where we started, and this is how we're going to finish. So over the middle of the runway, you're going to watch your steer point fly past you like that. And we're going power off. So idle, 60-degree bank, pull to 2 or 3G. So this is your G indicator right here. 2 or 3G. So I'm at a 3G turn right now. Don't worry about the beeping. That's just the outer marker. So coming down through 275 knots on the left speed tape there. Coming into a 1.6G turn. I'm leveling out in the opposite heading. So 3-1. The opposite of 3-1 is 1-3. It's actually pretty easy. Just take the number that you have, subtract or add by 18. If it's above 18, you subtract 18. If it's below 18, you add 18. And that will be your opposite heading. So if it's runway 3-1, I'm going to be coming back at runway at a heading of 1-3 on downwind. So I'm still idle. I'm kind of holding my altitude here, still at 1,400 to 1,500 feet. I'm watching the speed bleed down. Gear is still up. So I'm a clean airplane. I don't got a lot of gas. I only got 2,000 pounds left, so I'm nice and light to land, which is super important. All right. Once you go below 190, it's going to yell at you because it's trying to get you to put your landing gear down. But something in the F-16 is there isn't a G limiter. There's an AOA limiter. It'll limit the angle of attack that you can reach when in a turn with your gear down or in Cat 3. So basically, watch, if I put my gear down, gear down, and you'll see it lock in. Not want me to turn. See, look at it. It's locked. It's locked. Gear up. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. You'll see it, and it locks out. You see? So I'm gonna go ahead and go on. I'm gonna go around now because since I put my gear down, it made me miss that turn right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and re-execute the case 1 recovery. I'm gonna extend it out here. So like I said, get back down to 1,500 feet, 375 knots. So this is your MSL altitude. So we want on the radar altitude side. So 1,500 coming through. Go ahead and level it out. Put the velocity vector right on the horizon. And I'm a little bit fast now, but that's okay because I'm gonna make a left-hand fast turn over Vizani. And Vizani traffic Viper 01's at the brake. So like again, 450 knots, power's idle, coming across. Hold that velocity vector across the horizon at a 3G turn. 3G right at the horizon. Let me go ahead and extend it out here because I'm a bit close. Level out, maintain that altitude. I'm a bit high now, so I'm gonna go ahead and step it down. About a good interview. And a good reference for turning base is when this little point on the inside of the wing pylon right here crosses the runway threshold, then you want to turn. So right now, nice 45-degree bank, easy around. It helps in VR because you're going to be able to look over like this. You're like, okay, I can see the runway, I can see the runway, I can see the runway. So the gear speed for the F-16 is going to be 250 knots, but really it's all about that maneuvering. We don't want to limit our AOA until we are established on final, and then we're going to tweak it. All right, so that's our base turn. Looking good, looking good, looking good. Okay, I think I can turn final now. And once you get below 190 knots, that alarm's going to go off. Don't worry, just kick in a little bit of power. I'm doing this all at idle. So 190, kick in a little bit of power. And I'm going to drop the gear. Basically, all that warning is telling you is like, hey, you're going slow, you're in a landing configuration, I think you should put your gear down. You're like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So go ahead and put your velocity vector on the threshold. Now, we're going to talk about this AOA indicator right here. So this is called the E bracket. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to pull back on your stick slightly. Pull back slightly so that your velocity vector gets inside this E bracket. This indicates an on-speed AOA landing configuration. So when you're in this bracket, you're going to want to trim it up. Add a little bit of power and move your velocity vector. You're not pulling back on the stick anymore. You're just adding power. So that's a little bit too much power. I was rocking it there. So you're going to go ahead and nose forward, get out of the E bracket, and slide into it. The key thing is you want to slide into it. You don't want to pull too hard. You don't want to go too crazy, okay? So back into it. Landing speed, as you can see, when we're light and we don't have anything on outside, low drag, 145 knots. Got a good meatball. And in the F-16, you're going to land at about 12 or 13 degrees AOA, which means you got to kick the throttle at the end so you don't smash the ground. Good. Air brakes out. And we're going to hold this, what is called an aerodynamic brake, all the way down. Make sure not to scrape the engine. The crew chief's going to be mad. And once we get in, we're going to add a little bit of brake. Start tapping those brakes. Tap. Tap, 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 tap. You hold them down, you're going to skid. And the crew chief's also going to be mad at you. And go ahead and add the nozzle steering back in at this time so you can get some more nose authority. Tap, 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 tap. See, no skid? That's what you want. So at this time, I still have these speed brakes deployed, indicated by right here. I'm going to retract them. Closed. And we are at a safe speed X-ray taxiway at Delta. All right. And design traffic Viper 01. Off runway 31 at Delta. And that's landing procedure, guys. You can go ahead and rewatch it. And like I said earlier, when I was talking about the basically the traffic signals, as you can see, I got some buddies here. And basically, these buddies are really what other F-16s moving around. So I think they're about to go do their mission. Oh no, they're just returning. Look at this. He's entering the pattern right now. So yeah, that's my friend right there. Oh, sweet. Alright, let's continue. Next, we go ahead and taxi back. Remember, like I said, you don't need that much power. You just need to get over the inertial hump, and you can throttle back to idle, and it will taxi itself. Let's go ahead and park it over here by these Blackhawks. go ahead and turn it around. Cool, get leveled out. All right. And now we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing that we did to start up the aircraft. We're gonna do to shut it down. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna come over to the left side. We're gonna okay, well everything we turned on, we gotta turn off now. We're gonna go turn that off. My lights are already off, so I don't need to turn any of those off. Boom, boom. You're gonna leave your main battery in because that's the last thing we're gonna do. Radios are already off. Turn these systems off. Taxi lights off. Parking brake enabled. The MFDs will turn off when we turn off the thing down here. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and do scroll the symbology off. Pull the KHADI. Pull it. Twist it. It'll sit. That easy. Nozzle steering coming off. And over here, all your hard points. Disable your hard points. Done. Done. Don't touch those DED datas. Done. Done. Oxygen stays on. INS off. Mids off. Switches off. So you can go ahead and look. We got the no data. MFDs are off. Everything is. That's caged in. AOA is locked in. And when we are satisfied with it, and we are satisfied with the kind of hydraulic procedure, you're gonna go unlock that, open your canopy so that you can climb out of the airplane. Don't want to lock yourself in there, even though it'll have enough electrical power to open yourself. Just a good idea to always open it, resafe it. And then what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to go ahead and dump this in off. So it's gonna go back over and into mixture idle cutoff. So no more fuel flow to the engine. Battery off, and that is how you shut down a Viper. It's the easiest airplane. So I hope you guys got that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My information's in the contact thing. So yeah, happy flying.